This is the Reinforce Your Gym podcast with your host, Dustin Vogel. This show is about arming gym owners with the tools, strategies, and lessons they need to take their business to the next level. That way, they can make a greater impact in their community. Now, let's get to work and reinforce your gym.
All right, welcome gym owners to another episode of the Reinforce Your Gym podcast. I got a special guest an his name rhymes with mine. In fact, most people mistake my name for his, and that is Justin Devonshire. So he is an expert with helping gym owners grow their business, and I love that he is one of those that comes from the background of doing all the dirty work himself. He's not just a marketing guru that's telling gym owners what to say, but has never owned a gym or done a personal training session before. He's built himself up from the ground up. And although he is located in another country, for my US gym owners, I don't want you to write off his advice, because at the end of the day, people are the same around the world, whether it's how you get them through your doors, how you speak to them, how you frame fitness, how you sell them. And so he helps gym owners in many countries. In fact, many of his clients are here in the US. So I'm excited to have him jump on and share his nuggets of wisdom. Justin, welcome to the show.
Hey, Dustin, thanks for having me. It's really good to be here.
Yes. So I, of course, want to start with your story. So the audience that doesn't know you like I do, where did you get started? Kind of how did you build your way up, and where are you at today in terms of how you serve the fitness industry?
Yeah, so it's actually kind of a lot of parallels with your story as we were chatting for the podcast. So if anyone knows your story, there's a lot of overlap there. And so I started about 20 years ago as well, when I was quite young. And so I came from the UK. I started there. I started working in the fitness industry for a small local private gym, and I didn't have any qualifications at the time. I just learned everything from reading T Nation, basically, back in the day.
Cool.
Like Chad Waterbury and Mike Boyle and those guys, and realized I wanted to get into the fitness industry, and managed somehow to secure a job for a small private gym before I was even certified. And I just said, look, I want to get into this industry. I'm really good at programming, training myself. I'm going to get certified. But in the meantime, I'll take good care of your customers. I'll give you a clean gym. Things will run on time. And, give me a trial for 2 weeks. And if you don't like me, you can fire me. And at least you'll have 2 weeks of clean treadmills.
Nice.
The gym owner was like, sure, give it a shot. And then pretty much within a month, I was basically running the whole place. Wow. So I was taking advice from, they weren't called podcasts back then. It was like the tele seminars, the guys like, Chris McCombs, Sam Bakhtiar, all those guys back in the Bedros, and I was just taking all this stuff, which you got to remember in the States where you guys are, the UK is probably about 5 years behind implementing things. So back in 2008, 2010 is when, the guys were making semi-private popular in the US. So I was trying to make that work in the UK, and nobody had a clue what that even was. So I started building all these things into the gym. They started making more money. I was only making about $500 a month at this point working in this place, but I was just happy to get the experience on somebody else's dime. And within a month, the guy just basically gave me the keys to the gym and said, you can open, you can close, you can keep doing what you're doing. I was making this guy a ton of money, and I was just using it. I didn't really care about the money then. I was just doing, practicing, learning, running the marketing skills, learning direct response, running, turning things into semi-private, things like that. So I did all that. And after a few months, I started realizing I was getting the wrong end of the stick. I needed to go out and do it on my own. And at that time, around about that time, I had an opportunity to leave the UK and come over to the island of Cyprus in the Mediterranean. That's where I live now. So I wanted to get out of the UK. I thought about coming to the US, maybe to Florida, somewhere with good weather. But I had the opportunity to come over to Cyprus. There's a lot of English expats over here as well. So I came over on a one-way ticket, started up a fitness boot camp, found a patch of grass, just started a boot camp with all the bootstrapping methods to get, I used to go outside, talk to people in the street like a crazy person, like, hey, I'm doing a boot camp. You want to come try it for 2 weeks? So I did all that, opened a studio from there, doing semi-privates. This was about 2000, must be about 2010, 2011 time. And I was doing the 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. grind myself. I was overwhelmed, doing everything. Felt like I was the best kept secret of my town. I could change people's lives, but nobody knew who I was. Didn't know how to get myself out there. And then about that time, soon after, I started learning more about organic marketing. Came across Facebook advertising. About 2011, I started running Facebook ads, and that was a big instigator for me. Clicked onto the system with a bit of trial and error, and then within a couple of months, I'd scaled up and filled that location, that studio. I handed over the reins to a business partner, and then I went out and I built a large group training facility. Then 4,000 square feet. Opened that with about 200 members on day one.
Nice.
Yeah, and eventually I built and sold both of those studios, and started then helping other trainers who'd been asking for help, how I did all this stuff. So I started teaching, doing seminars, coaching people. And after a couple of years then of teaching, I kind of felt like I wanted to get back in the trenches a little bit. I actually missed running gyms and having that face-to-face contact with customers. So it was about 2017. I then was running an event in the UK, and I met up with a guy called James. Came to that looking to learn. He had just opened a transformation studio and put all his money into it, and like didn't know what to do next. So he came to me for coaching, but we got on really, really well. He was a pure visionary, and I'm a lot more of an integrator. So he has the big vision, takes action on anything, whereas I have all the background, the systems. And I said, hey, I think we could partner up. I said, if you're open to it and like doing like an equity split on the business, I'll just bring in all my systems. I've already built and sold 2 gyms, so I've got the systems for ads, for sales, for hiring, for finance. We just plug it all in, and I mentor you along the way. So he was open to that. We went into partnership, and this business is called the TransformHub, if anyone wants to look into it. And so we scaled the TransformHub then from we had 2 locations in 2018. And then actually through most of the COVID period, we scaled up to a 25 location franchise now.
Wow.
So yeah, it's large group training with semi-private kind of bolted on top as an upsell.
Nice.
So I've stepped away. I've exited my part of the company now. I've done what I want to do there. So, but it's still going strong. And yeah, and then now I'm kind of back into coaching the gym owners again with a lot more knowledge than I used to have, especially on scaling multiple gyms, acquiring competitors' gyms, buying and selling companies, and like franchising, scaling up, that kind of thing. And I've also started a new semi-private gym as well out here in Cyprus, because I do think semi-private is definitely the way to go in the future.
100%. I love it.
Yeah, I'll leave it there. That's
Yeah, that's great. And I think it's kind of interesting, kind of backtracking in the beginning when you said you went to that gym owner with that offer. It sounds like that was your first parlay into offers. Like, I will work here for very little pay and, give me a chance type of thing. And unfortunately, we see less of that in today's world. People want the success and the high paying job right out of the gate with zero experience. And that's unfortunately becoming more and more old schools, like bartering, work, sweatquity, like, working hard and not getting a lot. And again, I think that that's something to remind listeners that, maybe are not gym owners yet. Like, go give a gym owner an offer they can't refuse, and most of them will probably say yes, right? Like get your foot through the door. Don't be worried about the pay, grow the skills, because that's what you got from that experience. That like look how far those skills took you to scaling a franchise and having equity in that, right? And then exiting. Like it all started in those humble beginnings. But we're too short-sighted, I think, in today's society. Like a lot of people just want things quick and fast and high paying, and they're not willing to put in that grunt work. And that's when you build the best skills that will, pay off in the long run. So let's kind of shift gears, Justin. I'm excited to get into your golden nuggets now that the audience knows you're very good at what you do and you have plenty of years of experience and you're, very skilled. I'm excited to get into your golden nugget. So I know I've kind of prepped you like, hey, bring a golden nugget around client acquisition, around retention, and around LTV. So let's start with that client acquisition. Like a gym owner needs people through the doors. What are you kind of coaching them to do? Again, you don't got to give away any like secret things, but like maybe just things that you can generally say that'll help them grow their business.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, man, you can ask me anything you want to know. I'll give anything away. I have it's no problem for me. Um, so when it comes to marketing, then client acquisition first, I think if we look at the biggest problem specifically right now, it's Facebook ad costs continually going up.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I've been warning Fit Pros about this. So you can go back, anyone can go back on my newsfeed and see 8 years ago, 9 years ago, I was telling people the Facebook apocalypse is going to come. Because when I started running ads in 2011, we would get leads for literally about 20 cents. And then in 2014, they were like $2, which doesn't seem like much, but it's still like a 6 or 7x increase in cost. And we've been running ads now for over a decade for gyms everywhere, and we know that the average cost per lead goes up about 200% year on year. And that was actually confirmed by Meta, one of Meta's financial officers not long ago. So we've been preparing for this. And a lot of gym owners are stuck in the olden days of like low barrier offers, 21 days for $21, or
Yes.
like the bait and switch challenge model where they get all the money back. And those things were all great, right? And I owe a lot to the Hormozis and the people that taught that stuff. I used a lot of that stuff back in the day, but it only works if you can get leads for $5. The minute you cannot get leads for $5 or less, you're going to have a lost leader on the front of the business. So back in about 2021, 2022, we kind of realized that this shift is going to keep happening. And we changed our marketing to say, let's assume on our projections that a lead is going to cost $50. Right? It's not costing that much now. It might not ever cost that much. But we said if if Zuckerberg made a law right now that said, gym owners, I hate you, you have to pay $50 for every lead, what would we do about it? Would we give up on Facebook and like hustle organically, or would we rebuild our system so that we could actually absorb that cost? And we did our projections accordingly, like worst case scenario. So the big problem is that gym owners are panicking everywhere. The leads are drying up. They're not getting the same leads as they used to get. There's a lot more because there's a lot more competition, a lot more demand and saturation now. So the nugget I would say for this is the old quote from Dan Kennedy, which I've built all my business thesis on, which is whoever can afford to spend the most to get the customer will always win the market. It is that simple. So many gym owners today are obsessed with getting cheap leads, but the goal of marketing is not to get cheaper leads. The game is who can actually afford to spend more and still make a profit, or at least break even on the front end. So it's the business that wherever your client value goes up so much that you can comfortably outspend everyone else. So, we do that by increasing your lead to sale ratio, improving like the booking and show up rate, like the stuff that, like your systems do extremely well, filling in these gaps. So even if you pay $20 a lead, a good percentage get booked in, a good percentage show up. Then you got to work on your sales skill to get a higher average closing rate. Then you got to most of all, putting your prices up, charging premium, increasing your LTV, which we'll talk about as well.
Yes.
The business that works on all those things is going to be able to, easily spend $200, $300 to acquire a customer, and they will be able to be dominant locally, but your competitors are going to get priced out of the Facebook ads market.
Yes.
And that's the schism we're going to see, I think, right now.
So it sounds like the main components of that is pricing accordingly. Don't do low ticket because you can never get into a cash flow state. Like charge $300, $500, $1,000 for a front end offer so that you can be cash flowing on your marketing spend and all your marketing and sales costs. And then secondly, having an efficient marketing and sales system that every step you have your benchmarks being hit. And so I'd love to have you elaborate on that, Justin. Like if you're, giving a prescription to a gym, what are benchmarks of like, I get 100 leads, how many do I get in contact with? And then how many set, show, and close? Like, again, just average, not your best gym.
Yeah, so I would say like minimum, I think you want to be charging roughly a minimum $500 upfront for a program, minimum.
Yes.
To do that, then that's going to change the sales mechanism. You're going to need to meet with prospects in person. You're not going to close that over the phone or on a DM chat. So you've got to have an in-person booking appointment system. On those numbers, then typically we see on average one sale for every 10 leads that come through Facebook.
Nice.
So, you get 10 leads, 4 or 5 get booked in, 3 or 4 show up. You should easily get 1 or 2 sales.
So
That's if your booking rate, your show up rate, and closing rate are solid.
Yes.
That's some of our gyms can get 1 in 8, 1 out of 7 lead to sale ratio, but 1 in 10 is average. And that very quickly tells you what you can afford to budget per lead. So we say if you're selling $500 on the front and you need 10 leads to make a $500 sale, you can afford $50 per lead to break even. And that's what I call the lead cost threshold. That's the one number advertisers need to know. And so we say like, hey, if your lead costs less than $50, don't worry about it. Spend more. Always, you'll put new tests up, like try new ads to see if you can get a cheaper lead cost. But we don't turn until a lead costs $51. We don't turn it off. So we just stay in the game longer, and that's the difference. I'm willing to spend $500 today to sign up a client for $500 today.
Yes.
And I'll just I'll just keep going on that. And we also find that one thing that nobody talks about in this game is sales velocity or momentum. What I found for a group studio, I think you actually need at least 15 to 20 sales front end every month.
Yes.
In order to get the growth momentum for your growth to outpace the churn.
Yes. Absolutely.
And so a lot of trainers underestimate how many sales they need. They think I had 10 this month, so that's cool. I can coast for a bit. But we say, no, you need 3 to 5 sales a week. That's the rate you need. So you get 20 front end sales, let's say on a 4-week or 6-week program. Let's see, if you then close 60% of those into recurring EFT, you need 20 front end sales to get 12 to continue.
Yes.
If you also then have a churn of 4 or 5 clients anyway, you've now got a net growth of about 6 or 7 new subscribers monthly. And that's what I call the big domino, is number of net new subscribers monthly, net new EFT after churn. This is the one metric, like the North Star that we look at, because if you worked for a whole month and you can say that, you did so well on sales, your conversion rate was good, your lead cost was good, you sold a bunch of supplements, good for you. But if your number of net recurring EFT subscribers didn't go up, you basically wasted a month.
Yes, absolutely.
In my eyes, right? It's like, at the end of the day, if the number of recurring clients isn't going up, your gym is not growing.
Yes.
So gym owners lose sight of that. They look at the front end sales only as a metric, but they don't look at the net growth. So again, we see that you need pretty much 20 sales a month on the front end so that even with an average churn, you can still be assured you're going to have 5 or 6 new recurring clients every month stacking up.
And I think there's a lot of gyms will have seasonality, right? Like you probably are going to hit that 20 in your sprint months where like Mark Fitness is hot, like January to May. And then you might go into your 15 or your 10 sales in June, July. And then you go back into the fall and it's sprint and you're getting those big numbers. And then December, you might hit your lower number. So realize, yes, we're saying the same number evenly all year, but I would adjust for your seasonality of your area and give yourself grace because where a lot of gym owners will get frustrated and just emotional is they want those peak numbers in a month where they're just in a seasonal month where they're just having less people interested in fitness. And so it's like push for the bigger number when things are going well and be okay with a little bit of a dip in your dip months. It happens to everybody. It's normal. It's not going to be even all year long. And I'm glad that you said 10% because that's exactly what I tell our clients, 10% throughput. If you got 100 leads, 10 people are going to buy. You said it as 10 to 1. And that's average. A great gym can get 15 to 20%. So call it 3 sales out of 10. And it's because, again, setting expectations for owners. Meta ads are the coldest leads. They don't know, like, or trust you. You interrupted their feed. They were scrolling. They were enjoying their day. They were checking out entertaining things. And then here comes your ad. Why do you get 70 or 80% of referrals to sign up? Because they were a warm introduction from a member. They heard about you. The member talked very highly of you. So also knowing you're closing by your lead source. Some sources will have higher percentages and some will have less. So some people will say, I'm just going to shut down ads and do all referrals because we close so many referrals. It's like that's a whole nother source. You cannot compare them apples to oranges. Most, experts like yourself and other agencies, they're all saying the same thing, 10 to 15% of meta ads, which I know doesn't sound great, but that's the industry norm. So if you're hitting that, you're doing great. Keep it up and just play all the different fishing poles you got, right? Your referrals, your organic, your Google, because all of them will help you to hit that 20 net sales a month and help you grow, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Gym owners, I don't want you to have the reputation in town as the gym that doesn't call people back, all right? We know it's critical when someone's finally made a decision to get healthy and fit that we get to them as quickly as possible. This can be solved by plugging in our remote sales reps, okay? It's not AI, it's not a bot, it's a real human that's working on your leads, the new ones that come in from your ads and the old leads in your database. And they're there to qualify the leads, to ask them discovery questions and to make sure they're a good fit. And then their job is to move them forward in your sales process so that you get more members month over month. All right, if you want to learn about our remote sales reps, go ahead and go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call, and we'll tell you more about it. See you then.
Okay, well, let's move on to your next nugget. Let's go more retention. We got people coming through the doors. That's the front door. Now, how do we lock that back door so people are not leaving at the same pace?
Got it. Cool. So so I won't belabor anyone with like the value of why retention is important. I'm sure everybody knows. It's better to keep customers. So the way I look at retention, I think it's quite unique. I haven't seen anybody else with the mental model that we have for retention. And I think because I really think this industry completely has misunderstood the reason for retention. Or churn, sorry, like the reason why people cancel. Because in my experience, when I first understood this and from talking to so many other trainers, one thing I keep hearing all the time is that they have clients that have been with them for 6 months, 12 months. They thought those clients were going to be there forever. And then one day the client just turns around and with a smile says, hey, just so you know, I'm actually going to leave this month. And the gym owner says, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, what did we do wrong? What's the matter? And a lot of the time, the client is like, oh, nothing. You guys are awesome. I'm just going to go across the road to another place. And the gym owners, like I was, were dumbfounded. And I was like, I don't understand it. Like they say this, I know there's nothing wrong. They're telling me there's nothing wrong, but they're leaving. And I actually think this is a bigger problem that's not spoken about versus, a customer leaves because your toilets are filthy or because you swore at them or because like we all know they leave for those reasons. But I don't see that with the quality of gym owners I work with. So we've got this invisible retention problem where clients are just leaving and you don't know why. And the trainer doesn't understand the reason for this churn. So they start questioning everything and they start tearing everything down, changing their prices, changing their model, and it doesn't solve the problem. So and I can't prove this, the numbers do correlate with what I'm saying, but I can't prove it as a scientific fact. But my theory and what's panned out for me is that it's something I call conscious progression. And it's the fact that clients don't stay just because they love your gym and your customer service kisses their ass. They stay when they always have a carrot on a stick or a purpose to the next level. So again, I call this conscious progression because a lot of our clients we know are getting results, but this is visible in the first 6 weeks. Everyone knows they lose weight quickly. They can see it dropping off them, right? Everyone's happy in the first 6 to 8 weeks. Longer term, what I see is that the clients might still be getting some slower results, but the coach takes all the emphasis away from that. And oftentimes the client they're not conscious of the results and benefits they're getting. The scale doesn't move as much. Their weight doesn't shift as much. And the coach or the gym owner is not doing as much of a job of reminding or reselling the clients on the results they're continually getting, showing them that their stress levels are lower, showing them that they're happier, and it becomes like this situation of like, what have you done for me lately kind of thing. And you've probably seen this with gym owners themselves too, right? A gym owner might come to you completely struggling. Their business is a mess. You fix up their systems in 2 weeks and they're pumping out like 10K months. And a month later, they're like, I'm only doing 10K a month. This is not really great. And you're thinking like, hey, 2 months ago, bro, do you remember where you were?
Yeah, many times.
And it's the same thing I think that happens with our gym clients. So what the simple test I do for this is I'll ask a gym owner, I'll say, hey, bring up a list right now of your top 30 recurring clients, not newbies, but guys you've had for 3 to 12 months or longer. Bring up a list of their names. Now the test is open up your coaching app or whatever you use, pick any of these recurring long-term clients. Can you tell me exactly what their next 90-day goal is? And then even if they say, oh, I think Sandy, I think she should lose maybe another 6 pounds or 10 pounds. The next test is, okay, does she know that's the goal? Or have you just picked this goal in your head based on a projection? So typically they can't. And so if the coach doesn't know every client's 90-day forward goal, the client probably doesn't know either. So again, trainers are great at this in the first 4 to 6 weeks when there's that challenge feel. But then the client reaches the initial goals and the challenge goes away. And if they don't feel they're being challenged with a purpose, like a carrot on a stick, every week and every month after that, they'll drift elsewhere. And they usually go and sign up somewhere else, like a Hyrox or a CrossFit or a different boot camp, just because they think they might get that initial novelty challenge feeling again. They kind of feel like they're just going through the motions, if that makes sense. So the trainer gets shocked because the client leaves but has no complaints. And what I see in the industry when I look at books on retention or in conferences and people teaching client retention, it's always like the same old stuff about customer service. And they're saying, oh, you just have to send more text messages and you just have to, send out more birthday cards and you just have to kiss their ass a bit harder. And it's like, that's like, you can text your client 25,000 times a week. It's not going to make them stay if they're wondering, like, why am I still doing this? Why did I start in the first place?
Yes.
So we have make sure every client is scheduled in for a progress review every 90 days. And we're going to sit with that client and go through like a whole consultation process all over again, saying, hey, 90 days in the future, what's a goal that's going to challenge you? Might be an aesthetic goal, might be a performance goal, might say, hey, let's get you signed up and we do a High Rocks event. We also have a system called tier testing in our studios, which basically I kind of borrowed from my background in martial arts, kind of like a belt grading system, like a tier 1 to tier 5.
Love that.
So everyone gets like a bit of a fitness test at their level, and then they get like like the colored wristbands, colored t-shirts to go with that level.
Love it.
And that gives them an extra state of status, but it also means everyone knows they're focused on their next 90-day goal. So everyone has a purpose, and we've just seen our churn rate drop down. So we maintain across our studios, I would say about 4 to 6% monthly churn average. Some of our gyms can get like 2 to 3%, but that's pretty Herculean, to be honest. I would say the average is more like 4 to 6%.
Yeah.
And again, this is what I've seen, I think has a very strong correlation on that.
I love that because my son is in Taekwondo and he's coming up on over 3 years. And as a business person looking in, I'm like, this is genius. As soon as he gets a color belt, they start training him on the moves of the next belt. And then when he gets to black, which he already has, they got layers of black and he's on second degree and it goes all the way to 9. And like level 6, he has to go to Korea and see like an original dojo and it's part of the boxes. And I'm like, they got this beautifully mapped out of their customer from year 1 to like literally year 10. They have such a deep like plan. And as gym owners, I think that's where we fall short is we're short-sighted. It is challenge to membership. And then we just hope you love fitness as much as we do. And you just you think it's part of your best part of your day. Most people don't want to go to the gym. That's why GLP-1s are so popular. Is like, I'd rather just inject myself and not have to lift weights every day and go through pain and have to, shower up and drive over there. So I think what you kind of pointed out to me here, Justin, is like, I can see that that's your trainer brain, where in fitness, I tend to see we can get trapped in 2 different camps. There's the trainer camp and then there's the class camp. And the class values energy in the room. They snort the pre-workout. They worry about the playlist. They worry about it being all hyped up. And it's just the more louder and rowdier I am, the better the clients will love it. And the trainer thinks more goals and progression and getting to an outcome. And so I had to, learn that over time, even as I hired trainers, is that like, why can I get this trainer to do a great job in my boot camp? Well, he was more of a person. He crushed it in one-on-one. And like boot camp was very uncomfortable for him. And I realized that these like 2 kind of like personalities and brains exist within fitness. And so I think, again, you're calling out those classes that, hey guys, we're getting too much about the workout experience and we're forgetting they came in for a result and we need to visit and we need to revisit that goal every 90 days and just check what's our progress towards it and be a trainer, like use your trainer brain more than your class brain, right? So I love that. That's a great nugget. And I think you guys, if you don't have some sort of progression in place, borrow his idea, whether it's like the colored wristband system or something that they're always chasing the next thing. And that way they don't get, because what's happening is they're also getting ads from all the other gyms. And same thing with gym owners. They're with an agency, well, they're getting hit with ads from another agency. And that agency is starting to look really good if they're starting to get into a place of complacency. So another gym is looking good if they're starting to feel like it's the same old with your gym and there's no progression. They need to see progress, right? That's
I think it's why things like High Rocks are getting so popular now as well, because they're giving that like, hey, challenge yourself aspect.
Yes. Yep.
And so we need to incorporate some of that. Yeah.
Love it. Well, on that might fit in with the third nugget, which is LTV. Like, how can a gym owner make their members more valuable, make them stay longer, and then also spend more in the gym? Is there anything that you see that's working well right now?
Yeah, so again, with this, I wanted to try and come up with something maybe a bit more unique, again, out of the box that like maybe gym owners haven't heard already. And so again, I'm going to assume like everyone knows they should increase lifetime value. You want to make more money from each customer for profitability, right? We say so that's that's pretty obvious. But I think what I've seen as well, and again, this was my problem back in the day, the biggest resistance I had to doing this, I knew I should be like trying to sell more stuff to my customers. But the problem for me was I didn't want to feel pushy, and I didn't want to like risk breaking the rapport with them. And I didn't want to be seen like I'm just pushing like stuff on them that they don't need, so they don't think I'm selling out. That was the biggest thing. So I think probably a lot of gym owners are in the same state. Like they've heard it from me, they've heard it from you, they've heard it from Alex Hormozy. They're like, upsell my clients. Like, I get it. It's just I feel a bit weird about it. So they don't want to keep pushing products and stuff that members don't need, which is rightfully so. That's the right attitude. So the way we reframed this, and we had to do this because when we were hiring staff, when we were hiring coaches, and I wanted them to upsell, they had this resistance like times 10. So we had to reframe it for our staff members, first of all. And we reframed it from saying, hey, instead of asking, what else can we sell our client? We instead wanted to ask, what could be stopping this client getting the best results possible, right? So every upsell we ever created basically came from a gap or a need that we diagnosed. So again, because we're doing the 90-day quarterly meetings, and because we know our customers' progression journey so intimately, this gives us a wealth of data to find out what we need to be upselling to them, to find all the gaps and the problems. So it pretty much every progress review meeting also becomes an opportunity for an upsell if they need something. So, we started selling protein supplements because we were sitting down with the clients, and a lot of them couldn't hit their protein targets with whole foods because they're busy all day. Some of them are nurses or doctors or business owners. They were like, yeah, I can't be carrying chicken and tuna around with me all day. So we were like, hey, we recommend this protein shake. Take it twice a day and you just get quick protein without any meal prep. That's why we started selling it. It just solved a need, and then they got better results. We built in our hybrid accountability app on Trainerize because clients were struggling the most when they weren't in the gym with us. We can beast them for 3 hours a week in the gym, but it's the 165 hours a week they go and they mess it up on their own, right? When their schedule is disrupted, or when they're sick, or when something comes up, they fall off track. So we had to build in the extra accountability bolt-on to help the clients who needed that. We started creating and selling additional workshops and fitness courses because these were the same questions that kept coming up individually from clients every week. How do I work my core? How do I engage my glutes? How do I do this? And we're like, well, 20 people are asking about this. Let's put a workshop on all about glute and core activation. And we charge $20 for it. So none of these things, started out with how do we make more money? They exist because we found gaps in the client journey, and we found products or services that we were unable to fulfill in our baseline service. And we're there for 20 to 30% of the customers who needed that extra little thing to fill in the gaps. So how we sell these then, again, every 90 days we have a progress review. Also, every 2 weeks, every client is scheduled in for like a 5-minute in-body scan, quick measurement, quick how are you check-in. So we're always getting feedback from the clients. And those meetings are to diagnose. If someone has 3 work trips coming up, we say, hey, maybe are you interested in maybe looking at this hybrid coaching to help you stay on track whilst you're away, so your results all don't go to shit when you come back, right? If they're missing their protein intake every week, they're getting behind on nutrition, we'll prescribe supplements. If getting the nutrition dialed in or staying adherent is holding them back, we'll prescribe additional macro coaching. Or if there's specialty subjects you can help with, if you've got women on menopause or people taking GLP-1 medications or an athlete that needs certain conditioning for an event, or people who want body part specialization, right? Or people with back problems. There's all sorts of extra specialization things you should be offering them, and then also charging a fair amount of money to solve that.
Yes.
So again, we stopped asking what can we sell just to make us more money, and we started asking, how do we diagnose our clients more and find real needs that we can fill in and we can sell ethically and professionally. And again, we had to do that because that's how we got our coaching team on board with it. And so, yeah, that's how we learned that lesson.
Yeah. Yeah. If you package it as selling, trainers are going to fight back. They don't want to sell. They don't want to sell protein bars and shakes and extra programs. But when you put it in the name of getting the client better results, that's how you get them on board. It's more of a heart play than a head play. The head, we know it logically is like, we need to make money, we're a business. But when there's heart involved for trainers, that's how you kind of win it. And so I totally agree with that. All good stuff. Thank you, Justin. I want to switch gears though from the three nuggets to lightning round questions, which are just like picking your brain on some very different topics from one question to the next. So we'll start with mindset. What do you think is the number one mindset most gym owners need to kill right now that's holding them back?
Probably, this is probably a bit more of a generic one, but I'll say like the gym owners, the mindset to kill is the ones that think like, if I just need more leads. If I just had more leads, all my problems would be solved. And you probably know this better than anyone, right? They use that as a comfort blanket, blaming the leads, blaming the ads.
Yes.
Whereas the leads they already just paid for are rotting on their CRM somewhere. They're not following up fast enough. They're not using automation. They're not. I had a conversation with a gym owner today, who was like, our biggest problem is booking. We're getting leads, but they're not booking in. And I said, well, who's the dedicated person on your team doing the booking? And they said, we don't have a dedicated person. It's me and my business partner jumping in on it now and then if we can get to it. And I said, well, would you have that approach with your workout sessions? Like, nobody's dedicated to covering the workouts. It's just if someone's there.
Yes.
And they were like, no. And so I said, well, the minute you put a dedicated person on that KPI, it's going to improve. And they go, oh, but that costs money. I was like, yes, but it'll make you money. So, I said, you need to go out and get, and I think actually someone I know has actually introduced them, or they're maybe connecting them to your business, I think, soon about this, to get someone on there. So again, the mindset thing is like, just needing more leads is not going to get those leads booked in, showing up and buying and upselling and retaining and all those things we've talked about. You have to fix the model because and the gaps in your model all the way. And yes, it's hard work, and yes, it's a lot of numbers, and yes, none of us want to do it, but we could say that for counting calories and workout being in the top 1% of physique, right? If you're a trainer and you're in the top 10% of physiques, which most of them are, you can do this for your business too.
Yes. The way that I put it is, when everybody owns it, then nobody owns it. And it's whenever there's a shared job that everybody we're all going to clean the gym. Do you ever find the gym gets clean? Or it's like, this trainer has to do this in the morning block and this trainer does it in the evening block. Then it gets done. And I call that hot potato sales, where it's like, I'll cover it for an hour, and then, this coach will take it, and then the front desk, and then like back to the owner, and then you wonder why it didn't get done well. And that's why it's a shared job, and the jobs you want done right has to be owned by someone. The buck has to stop. Can other people help? Yes, but someone has to own the scorecard and the number and the outcome and be held accountable for it. And so, yes, I totally agree with that. And I think, to your point, like, I just need more leads. You're right. Like, people can just say, well, now I'm getting more leads, but the leads are no good, or the leads aren't serious, or, like, Facebook's trash. And it's very easy to just point the finger, but I find that you have to adopt the mindset of either find a way or find an excuse, right? And so like if the people who want to grow like you and I or any other kind of person that grew a successful gym, they just found a way. They didn't waste time blaming. They just found a way to make it work. And they found what works. And if it didn't work, it was a learning lesson. It wasn't a reason to just sulk and not grow your business. So I'm glad that you pointed out because I do think that that is a major mindset to fix. Now let's switch to a habit. What's a boring habit that a lot of your best gym owners do that your struggling gym owners are not doing? Just simple
Track numbers.
That's the most popular answer. I love that.
Bell surprise.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. All right. You heard it, guys. Okay. Last lightning round question. If you had to open a brand new gym, which, you know, you've opened many through the years, and you have to get to 30K in 12 months, what's the model look like? What's the grand opening? What do you charge pricing? Just kind of rapid fire, some basic stuff.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just give you our like franchise opening model pretty much, right? So if we're talking about like a semi-private gym or a large group kind of thing, let's say group training in general, you're going to aim for 150 clients. Time to do that typically is about 2 years. Okay, so reverse engineer that on launch, we aim for a minimum 50 to 60 sales on day one. We have like, again, with the franchise we built, that was actually our like guarantee. If you don't get 60 sales on day one, you know, you don't pay any royalties. So 60 sales day one, you're going to end up then by month 2, you're going to have at least 30 recurring clients. You then want to grow by about, 5 or 6 new recurring clients a month on top of that. That will take you up to around about 100 clients within 2 years. Nice. As for the launch, very simple. Again, we can have our acquisition cost in general. So for us, it's nothing major. Sorry to burst a bubble. We basically just smash the ads for 4 weeks in advance. And the gym owner and one other person will be doing sales bookings. So the gym is going to be prepped just with a consultation room, even if the equipment isn't there. Consultation room, that's the money maker. That's the room you build first in your new gym. You have that open 4 weeks before you ever do a workout. You're going to smash ads for 4 to 5 weeks. Again, if you assume $100, $150 acquisition cost for a customer, you put $6,000 into ads. Yep. You look to close 40, 50, 60 sales before day one of opening, pretty much. $500 acquisition cost. And then basically if you get 30 clients recurring by week 8, you're then probably covering all your OPEX as well.
Yes. And you charge them $300 a head, or what's your monthly membership rate?
For semi-private, we recommend like 350 to 450 minimum in most places.
Okay.
Like about $97 a week. For large groups, maybe $150 to $200 a month.
Yeah.
Or if you can in some places. But yeah, like that's pretty much it. We at this point, like we just don't really do much else.
You got it down.
It's just smashing the ads, get that dialed in, get that acquisition system so your like you said, percentage of leads to sale, get that to 10%. Know what you need to spend. And then, like I said, the biggest thing for growth then that everyone misses out is your sales targets have to be non-negotiable, which means if you need to grow by 3 sales a week, this is the biggest mindset shift for us. For me personally, was most trainers have a budget they want to spend, and they'll see if they'll get 3 to 5 sales with that budget. We are different. We say we're going to get 3 to 5 sales or nobody's going home on Saturday. So when a trainer says, oh, but the lead costs have gone up, so what do? It's like, well, we spend more.
Yes.
If your acquisition cost this week is $300, well, we need 3 sales. So our budget is now $900 this week. That's the game. Where we are going to get our 3 to 5 sales to keep momentum up. and we're just going to spend more to get the customer. And no one, we again, it goes back to whoever can afford to spend the most is always going to win.
So many things that I kind of did as well. I love that. I actually set aside 10,000 for my grand opening, and I would start at 12 weeks prior. But I know a lot of people, even they'll call us a month before opening and just want a magic wand of 100 members there on day one. So, but what I was going to really double click on is the carrot and the stick. A lot of people get more motivated by the stick of of like a consequence. So the fact that you will work Saturday if we don't hit our numbers Monday through Friday, I actually think would motivate more people than a fat commission being paid out, which would be the carrot, right? And so to prove this, we actually did an 8-week accelerator with gym owners, and I had everybody set an EFT target for what we're going to hit in the 8 weeks. And then I said, what's your stake if you don't hit it that you have to do? And lo and behold, most gym owners are lifters, so they all put cardio things. I have to do 100 burpees. I got to sign up for a marathon. Like to them, that was pain and anguish. And that was the driving motivator as we got down to the final few weeks was like, holy crap, Dustin's going to make me do this consequence. I really don't want to do it. And people did work late nights and they started working weekends and they pushed it and then got to the finish line. So I would tell you, the audience listening, put a stake. If you've tried the pleasure of like, I'll give myself a massage, I'll try to go on vacation, I'll give myself a pay bump, and it's not working, put pain instead. We tend to do better and get more motivated from pain than we do from pleasure. So I like that. I just want to double click on that.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Pain's always a bigger motivator for change, as Tony Robbins says.
Yes. Well, Justin, we're going to wrap up here. I do want to encourage people to continue to follow you. I want to just plug your social media content. I think you give out extremely valuable, like this guy's writing pages on his social media. Like he's giving out books, but it's all really good. It's very engaging to read and it's very valuable. And you guys could make money just on his free content. But where should they follow you? And then any programs that you want to plug that they should go check out?
Yeah, cool. Thanks. I mean, yeah, like Facebook is where I probably spend most of my time on my personal Facebook. You can always reach out to me, drop me a message. I still answer messages and things. Yeah, probably the best place, social media. Like you said, you can learn a lot of stuff there. I have links and stuff for other things like workshops and stuff too. But yeah, just come over to social media, check it out and see if it helps.
Great. And so guys,
search my name, Justin Devonshire.
Love it. I'll just ask you this. Screenshot today's podcast episode, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening, and tag me and Justin on it and tell us what was your biggest takeaway. That's the best compliment you can give him. He gave you a lot of value. Don't just listen and then jump to your next podcast episode. Like stop, take notes, and take action. He took his time to give it. Now, show him respect and go and do it. That's the best compliment you can pay us. All right, Justin, we'll let you go. Appreciate you, man. And thanks for the great notes.
All right. Thanks so much. It was fun.
Hey, gym owners, let's face it. You probably don't love digital marketing. You probably don't want to go into Facebook and load the ad up and think of ad copy and creatives and optimize it daily. Well, hand that over to me and my team because we're geeks about marketing and we want to flood your gym with new members so you can change their life. Let us do what we do best. All right, go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call. Don't bring the credit card. It's not a hard pitch. It's just a conversation to see if we're a good fit. Talk soon.